Hi, yogi friends. Cathy here. So glad you're here to practice with me today. Today's practice is all about relaxation and restoration. It's a great practice for when you really need to take care of yourself. If you've had a really difficult day or difficult week, it's also a great practice to do before bedtime. If you have the opportunity to take a long practice to prepare the body with deep relaxation before you go to sleep at night. So I would suggest that you have some blocks. I would suggest that you have a bolster, and if you don't have a bolster, you can get a somewhat long pillow that's kind of firm, or you can grab 2 or 3 blankets of any type, and those can be a substitute for your bolster, and we'll use those instead. A strap is handy for one pose that we'll be doing. If you don't have a strap, just a long bath towel will work, or beach towel rolled up. So we've got some substitutes if you don't have those props handy that'll work just fine. So take a sec to grab those items and we will jump right in and get started. Come into your easy seat. If you're like me and you need to have a small towel rolled behind the tailbone to help you sit tall in the spine, then you can use that, or a blanket works for that as well. Just gives a little support behind the tailbone to allow you to lengthen tall through the spine. So come into your easy seat. You can place the palms facing toward the sky and close the eyes. We're going to begin by just noticing the breath, the inhale and the exhale. And just noticing it sometimes slows the breath down a bit. Just settle into this space, allowing everything to fall away from the rest of your day. And we'll take a big full belly breath in. And fully and completely exhale that breath out. On this next inhale, really expand the lower abdomen, feeling it fill like a balloon. And allowing it to work its way up through the lungs, maybe even raising the collarbone slightly at the top. And then as you exhale, allow the collarbone to relax and really pull the navel toward the spine as you press that exhale fully out of the lungs. Let's do this twice more. Inhaling. And exhaling. And after our next inhale, we'll chant Om once together to open our practice. And that chant of Om just reminds us that we are all connected to one another through the universal life force that is a part of each and every one of us and every other living being. We're going to start today with some breath work. This is called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. And if you want to keep the eyes closed, if you're familiar with this, do so. If you need to have a visual cue of the mudras or the shapes to make the hands, you can do that. Left hand is on the left thigh or left knee with the thumb and the forefinger touching one another. And the other fingers are relaxed. The right hand will take the pointer finger and the middle finger and place them just in the center of the forehead, right above the eyebrows is where it works best for me. If between the eyebrows works for you, that's an option as well. But centering on the forehead with the pointer finger and the middle finger. And then the thumb and the ring finger of that right hand are going to be used to allow us to open and close the left and right nostril. So let's take one transition breath just to get ready with both nostrils open. And then we're going to close the right nostril with the thumb and take a deep breath to a count of 6 through the left. Close off the left and exhale through the right, count of 6. Inhale through the right, count of 6. Close the right, exhale left, count of 6. And repeat. Inhale on the left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close right, exhale. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. I'll guide you one more. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. And continue on your own, inhaling left. One more round. And when you've completed that final exhale on the left-hand side, just lower the right hand down, both palms on the legs or the knees facing the sky for just a moment. And just allowing a little transition here as we prepare to come into movement. The Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing, helps to balance the feminine and masculine energies within the body and just provide balance throughout the body. And it is a cooling and relaxing breath. Take notice of the spine. We want to have it erect, lengthening out of the pelvis up through the back and the neck, right out the crown of the head. Maybe even tuck your chin just slightly to allow length up through the crown. And we want to recognize the miracle of our body just as it is right in this moment here today. Before we get started with our movement, allow effort in the muscles and within the mind to just transform to ease. We're inviting in rest and relaxation and releasing tension, opening our heart to self-compassion. And take notice of the peace that resides within you. It's always there, always available to us. And we each work to find our own best way to tap into it. Getting still and quiet is one path to accessing that peace that is always right there inside us. Let's keep our eyes closed or maintain a soft gaze and just focus the attention on the movements as we begin moving and the sensations of the body as we move. Let's take the hands and lift the arms up over the shoulders. So hands are directly up above the shoulders. And if you need to look for guidance, do so. And try to close the eyes or keep a soft gaze just to allow your attention to be fully focused on the sensations of the body without any visual inputs, if that works for you. And we're stretching tall through the spine while we have the arms lifted up. And then take notice of the shoulders. Allow them to relax away from the ears. And just take the arms now and lower them down so that the fingertips can touch the mat. And then we're going to raise them back up again, maybe having the palms face toward the ceiling until they come up to extend fingers above the shoulders. Starting with some slow and gentle movement, lowering the arms back down so fingertips can touch the mat. And then lifting back up once again. We're going to do this one more time. Lowering the arms so fingertips can touch the mat. And then once they've reached the mat, we'll turn palms to face the sky and lift the arms up above the shoulders once again. And when you get there this time, let's clasp the fingers as if we were going to make a little prayer. And then turn the palms, just twist the wrists and turn the palms so that we're opening up that shape of the hands, and the palms are now facing the ceiling. The fingers are still clasped, but we've turned the palms to face the ceiling. And we're lifting up by pressing through the base of the palms where the palm attaches to the wrist. Just pressing upward, but still allowing the shoulders to release away from the ears because we don't want to create any tension there. Lifting through the spine, out the crown of the head, just holding here for a moment. If it feels good in your body, you may tip very gently toward one side. And just feel how that opens the side body a bit and lengthens through the arm, the armpit, all the way up to the wrist, Come back to center if you've taken that tilt, and then take it to the other side very gently. Think of opening the side body more than tilting. We're really trying to stretch from the hip all the way up to the base of the palm rather than bending sideways. The focus is on opening the side body. Come back up to the center now. Lower the arms back down slowly to the mat. And then we're going to maintain that soft gaze or the closed eyes, and we're going to begin some hip circles. So that means we are taking the upper body, bending toward one knee, and just hold there for a moment and take notice of your sits bones. Is one of them raised off the ground? We want to keep them grounded as much as possible. So if one hip starts to lift up, we just don't bend quite as far. So we're bending from the hips, torso toward one knee. We bring the face and the torso across between the knees to the other side, keeping those sits bones grounded again. And then we tilt back and use the abdominal muscles to roll around to the back and tip onto the tailbone as we come back. So we're just circling the hips here. And you can do this at whatever pace is most comfortable to you. And just notice how this brings some opening into the hips, activates the abdominal region. Notice what other sensations you feel, because this may feel really different from one body to the next. And continue to circle just a few more times here. Noticing if, as you continue the movement, it helps to open up any space in any particular areas. Let's do one more. And when you get to the place where you started, we're going to reverse the circle and just go in the opposite direction. So again, we're coming back. Moving forward, following the breath, making sure to incorporate breath into our movement. We don't want to hold the breath, so continue to breathe. And if you want to begin to think of using your breath and marrying it to the movement. Whenever we extend the body, expand the body, we inhale. And when we contract the body, we exhale. So continue with these hip circles, just a few more. Notice how it feels different to do the circles in this direction than it did in maybe in the other direction. And let's do one more complete circle. And when you get to the point where you started your circles, we're just going to come sit back up tall. And then we're going to raise the right arm up above the right shoulder, and then we'll bring it to rest just above the knee or on the right knee, allowing the spine to stay tall. So if that means the hand needs to be closer to the body on the leg, that's fine. So right hand is resting on the right thigh or grabbing the right knee, tall spine. Lift the left arm up above the left shoulder, and from here we're going to begin to tilt toward the right. Just slightly. Again, feeling the opening in the side body, relaxing the shoulder away from the ear, and keeping both sits bones grounded. Those pointy hip bones in the buttocks, keeping those grounded on the floor. And then we'll raise that left arm back up tall. Lower it down, release the right hand from the right leg, raising the left arm up over the left shoulder, bringing the left hand to rest on the right thigh or the right knee. Lifting the right arm up above the right shoulder. Lifting tall through the spine, relaxing shoulder away from the ear. And then we'll start to tilt the torso, the arm, the head slightly toward the left. And just holding here for a moment, noticing the sensations in the body here. Let's come back up tall. We'll lower that right arm down, releasing the left arm. And then we're going to do some seated cat-cows. And so we'll sit tall first, placing both palms on the knees. And fingers just wrapping right around the kneecaps. Bending forward from the hips first, keeping a flat back. And then we're going to press the chest forward, bring the shoulders back. Bring the face directly forward. Really feel the opening in the chest there. And then we'll come up to sit tall. And we'll curve the back toward the wall behind us, drawing the navel toward the spine, and the shoulders roll forward a bit here. And then we'll come back through center, bringing the torso forward, leaning forward, keeping the sits bones grounded, opening up through the chest, through the shoulders, lifting the face to look directly forward, and then we'll sit up tall. And then curve the spine toward the back of the room. Draw the navel to the spine. Let the shoulders and the chin roll forward. Chin is coming toward the chest here. We're rolling onto the tailbone there as we go back. And then let's bend forward again. Opening up through the chest. I'm doing these very slowly so you can really feel every little movement. Come back up tall after you've opened the chest forward and lean backward, curving the spine toward the wall behind you, drawing the navel toward the spine and letting the shoulders roll forward as we bring the chin toward the chest. Leaning forward again, opening up through the chest, raising the face forward, sitting up tall, and then curving the spine toward the back of the room, drawing the navel toward the spine, chin to chest. All right, let's come back up to seated. And if you have had your eyes closed, take a little look at my puppy here. Peanut has decided that this restorative practice is a great time to hang out in my lap. Unfortunately, he's going to have to move in a minute. All right, so we've done our seated cat-cow. Peanut buddy, time to scoot. I love it when the pets come and just really enjoy the practice with us. So we're going to do legs up the wall in an alternative way if you don't have a wall handy. And we're going to do traditional. I'm going to do it both ways so you can see. If you have a wall nearby, scoot yourself up by the wall so that the shoulder touches the wall. And bending the knees so that the soles of the feet are flat on the floor. And the knees are facing toward the ceiling. I have a little too much equipment in my way here. From here, this is kind of it's a simple move. After you've done it a few times, it's really easy. If you've never done legs up the wall, we're going to rock backwards, keeping the shoulder against the wall, lifting the legs up, and then use this hand that's near the wall to push us around so that the bum comes close to the baseboard and the wall. Now, if the hamstrings are tight, this might be too much to have the bum right up against the wall. You may need to push away from the wall and give a little more space between the bum and the wall. Whatever works best for you. If you have a wall handy, legs up the wall, truly legs up against the wall so that the heels can rest there and the bum is close. And leave a bend in the knees. This is really restorative. It's a great pre-bed position. If you don't have time to do a full practice to get ready for bed, this tells the nervous system it's time to calm the body and get ready for rest. And it also is really great for circulation because we do a lot of standing, sitting all day. This gets the blood flowing in a little bit different direction. Can help with varicose veins and that type of thing as well, restless legs. And you just hang out here and relax, which I find also quite wonderful. Now, if you are not near a wall, but you want to get the benefits of legs up the wall, let me show you how to come out of this too. If you're coming out of legs up the wall, bring the knees to the chest and just roll over to one side, and then you can use the hands to bring you up. Now, if you don't have a wall nearby or there's furniture against the wall and it's just not practical, then another option, excuse me, Peanut, is to lie down on your mat and grab either a strap or a rolled up beach towel or long towel and lift the legs up toward the ceiling and just use the strap either right above the knees or maybe behind the thighs, and just give yourself that little bit of support, and you can hold both sides of the strap and still get the benefits of this inversion even though the wall is not available to support you. The strap or towel can be pretty supportive. And I have my feet together here just because it makes it easier with the strap holding them. If I had the legs up against the wall, then I'd have the feet separated more. But this is just an alternative for you. And it's also an option too to just have the legs, the feet extended up toward the ceiling. You could even bring the hands behind the thighs if you don't have another way to support them but want to be able to do that. All right, so we've had some legs up the wall time. And now we're going to come into a supported child's pose. I really like to have a bolster for this, but if you don't have a bolster, then you can use 2 blankets rolled up. Even 1 blanket can be nice. So if you have 2 blankets, you want to fold them long ways and stack them on top of one another. Since I have a bolster handy, I'm going to show you how to do this with the bolster. Pardon me, Peanut. So pull your bolster as close to the groin as you can. And then first of all, you'll have to widen the knees as wide as the mat. Come to sit on the heels. And then pull the bolster in as close as you can. And we're just going to lay the body, the torso forward onto the bolster. And turn the head so that one ear is resting on the bolster. It can be either side because we're going to take a few minutes on both sides. And just relax here. If this is too much on the knees, then you can always put a towel behind the knees so the bend is not quite as drastic. And you always have the option, if needed, if the knees just really need to be much straighter, the hips need to be much straighter, you can always extend the legs out behind and just allowing the torso to rest on the bolster again. And we just want to let everything go here, so we really want to allow the arms to rest beside us. We want the muscles of the face to release. We want the leg muscles to relax. We're allowing gravity to do the work here and pull the weight of the body down into the mat and into the bolster. Feeling those surfaces beneath us supporting us.
And if you have the head on one side, one ear, let's turn the head so that the other side can rest on the bolster as well. You'll feel a different sensation in the neck when you turn the other side of the head over. And when you feel ready, you can remove the bolster by just pressing the arms up first, using the hands and arms to rise back up. We'll move our bolster over to the side because that's going to come in handy later. And then we're going to come up onto hands and knees. We're going to come into a pigeon position here. Now, if for some reason you have some stuff going on with the knees and bringing the knee forward and resting weight on it or turning it at all is going to be problematic, then let me offer you an alternative right off the bat. You can always lie down flat on the back, bringing both knees to face the ceiling, soles of the feet on the floor, and bringing one ankle to rest just above the opposite knee so that the bent knee is turning out to the side and coming into a figure four. So using the hands to wrap behind the thigh of the leg that had been resting, sole had been resting on the mat. And then drawing the knees toward the chest and tilting toward the side of the body where you can come over to rest on the elbow will intensify this stretch in the outer thigh just a bit. And sometimes if you just come to this position, that's plenty. But you get the same type of stretch here as if you were coming into the pigeon. So for those who do want to do a pigeon, let's come into, excuse me, our tabletop position here. We're going to lengthen the right leg out behind us. Maybe you can come onto the toes and give it a little stretch there, pressing into the heel, lengthening in the back of the leg. And then we're going to bring that knee forward between the hands and bring the right foot so that the heel is in front of the left leg. And then you'll notice I'm walking the left foot back just a little bit to come into the best position for my body. You really need to listen to the body here. It's going to tell you what works best. You'll feel a lot of opening in this hip. We don't want anything to be painful. Discomfort is one thing, but if it moves into pain, then it's your body's way of signaling you that it's not the right thing to do today. So if anything is painful, take the option to do the supine figure four. So once you're into this position, sometimes the tendency is to bring all the weight over onto this hip, and we want to keep the hips parallel so that these hip bones are sort of like lights shining forward. We don't want one higher than the other, that type of thing. So lengthen through the crown, pressing into the fingertips here. You'll really feel some lengthening in the front of that left hip flexor first, giving a little strength or stretching here. And then we'll come forward with the torso, just allowing, bringing the hands and the forearms down. You can make a little triangle with the hands and let the forehead rest right there. You could bring a block over under the head if that feels nice to have that pressure on the forehead. And you can also make fists with the hands and rest the forehead on the fists. So you got some options of how to rest the head here. Do whatever works best for your body today. And we're just going to hang here for a minute and just really allow this stretch
this opening to happen. This is also pressing some on the abdominal muscles, which helps with digestion. And if you're in that supine figure 4, you can find a place to rest there. We want to bring ease into the body. If anything is straining, then make an adjustment so that you can relax into the position. And then to come out of this position, we're going to use the hands and forearms to press up. Walking the hands back toward the body, we'll come back into that taller pigeon. Roll onto that hip now. And then we'll bring the other leg around and we'll come right into a Lord of the Fishes or Matsyendrasana here. And if this twist is too much, then another option for this twist is to lengthen both legs out in front and simply twist the upper body to one side. Since we were coming out of the pigeon, we'll already have one leg bent. And then we can bring the opposite heel to rest right outside that right knee, or ankle rather. The right heel is going to be touching the left bum. From here, lift the left arm up over the shoulder, bring it back behind. This might be enough of a twist right here. If you'd like to add a little more, you can bring the right arm up and catch the knee with the left knee with the right elbow, lengthen tall through the spine. We want to keep lengthen the spine at all times, unless there's a specific direction to do otherwise. Keeping the shoulders level, parallel to the floor, and then we can also twist to turn the neck to look toward the back shoulder. And just hold here and notice how this feels for the body. Notice any places that are gripping or that are tense and let them relax, let them let go. Remembering to breathe, that's super important. Again, we're twisting the abdominal organs, which helps aid our digestion. To come out of this, we'll raise the right arm up over the shoulder, raise the left arm up over the shoulder, and grab the left foot with the left hand and then bring it back to the other side. Let's come back up into our tabletop and we'll enter pigeon on the other side from that position. So lengthen that left leg out behind and maybe we stretch the back of the leg by pressing the heel back toward the back of the room. We'll bring that left knee forward between the hands, allowing the left foot, the heel of that left foot to come just underneath the right thigh, the right hip flexor. And then if it feels good, walk that right foot back a little bit. And again, keeping the hips parallel. Now notice how this feels on this side of the body. If you have a knee injury on one side of the body, it may mean that you need to do the supine figure 4 on one side and not on the other. And that's perfectly fine. Listen to the body and what it's telling you it needs today. And just hold here in this position for a moment, allowing some length in the front of that right hip flexor. Lengthening tall through the crown, allowing the shoulders to relax away from the ears. So many of these cues I'm giving to you, I also have to be giving to myself. Just to remind myself to stay aligned and not to get tense. Let's lower the torso down to rest the forehead either on the fist, on the block, or on a little triangle you make with the hands, the forefingers and thumbs to rest the forehead there. And just take notice of how this feels on this side of the body versus the other. Allowing yourself to relax into this position. Remembering that a slight discomfort is one thing, but we don't want any pain. So if there's any pain here, listen to your body and take the alternative pose. Letting gravity pull the weight of the body into the mat. And then we'll use the hands to press ourselves back up. And you can come into either of the twist options. If you want to come into the full Matsyendrasana, Lord of the Fishes, just bring that right leg around, settling the right heel just above the left knee, and allowing the sits bones to both be planted on your mat. Lifting the right arm up above the shoulder, bringing it around so the hand rests behind the bum. Bringing the left hand up above the shoulder and using that left elbow to possibly hook the right knee. Sitting tall, noticing that shoulders are parallel. And then if you like, twisting so that the neck turns to look over that back shoulder. And just holding here and noticing how this may feel different on this side of the body versus the other. And to come out, we'll raise the left arm up first, and then raise the right arm up, grabbing the right ankle with the right arm. And coming back to a Dandasana, where our legs are extended right out in front of us. Let's lift the arms above the shoulders. We're going to take a seated forward fold here, slowly lengthening the nose toward the toes and just lowering the hands when you get to your edge. Need a little bend in the knees here. That's perfectly fine. We don't want to ever lock out the knees. You can always put a blanket underneath the knees too for support. Working to keep a flat back here. We're not working just to reach super far forward, but keeping a flat back helps to lengthen the back of the legs and keep extension through the spine. If the hands reach the toes, you might just tug very gently on the toes to create a little more length in the back of the legs. And then finally, we're just going to allow the spine now to curve over as we relax the head down. So bringing a little curve to the back here, noticing how that changes the sensation in the backs of the legs. To sit up tall, we'll lengthen the fingertips out in front of us and then over our shoulders as we roll up tall and lower the hands down. Grab a block because we're going to need that next. We're going to just gently allow ourselves to come down to lying flat on the back, bringing the soles of the feet to touch the mat. Knees are facing the ceiling. We're going to come into a supported bridge. So that's why you need to have your block handy. Using the heels and the thighs, we're going to press into the mat, lifting the hips up off the mat and bringing your block to whichever height is most comfortable for you and your body today, and resting the weight of the hips right on the block. I like to place mine right on the sacrum, which is that center point in the back side that is about an inch or two above the tailbone. And it's a center of, well, a lot of things, but there are a lot of muscles that connect to that point. The sacral chakra is in that area. And we're just going to allow every bit of weight in the lower body, the hips there, to press into that block. Just feel how gravity pulling the hips down into that block feels. Notice that sensation. And allow the arms and shoulders to relax. Allow the face to relax. We want to keep the chin toward the ceiling. We don't want it collapsing down toward the chest at this point. And just feel the sensations of the body from the tips of the toes up through the legs, through the hips and glutes, all the way up through the torso, down the arms, to the tips of the fingers, and then through the neck, head, all the way up to the crown. And especially notice what it feels like to have this pressure on the sacrum and the hips elevated slightly. To remove the block, we're going to press into the heels, using the thighs and the heels, and just lifting the hips up enough to bring the block out to the side, and then we'll lower slowly down, lower the hips back down to the mat. From here, you can put your your block off to the side. I have my whole collection of props here today. Let's open the knees wide, bring the soles of the feet to touch one another. So in our Supta Baddha Konasana here, if you'd like to provide a little traction in the spine, you can take the hands and make an L shape with the thumb and the forefinger, and then rest the hands just in the hip crease so that the thumbs are on the fleshy part of the hips. The fingers are on the fronts of the hip flexors so that L shape just rests nicely right there. And you can use a little pressure and push away from the torso with the hands. And you'll notice some lengthening in the spine there. Sometimes that can feel good. You decide if it works for you. You can always release the pressure and start again. Or you can just allow the body to completely relax in the Supta Baddha Konasana and open the arms so that the palms are facing the ceiling on either side of the body. And just allowing again gravity to do the work here. If this is uncomfortable for the hips or the knees for any reason and you want to put blocks beneath the knees so that they're providing a little bit of support, you can put a block beneath the knee or up against the thigh and the calf to provide some support there. It's always an option. If you have 2 bolsters, or if you had more blankets, you could also push blankets beneath the legs there to provide some more support, or beneath the hips. You decide what works best for you today. And just relax into this position here. Letting go of all efforts in the arms, the shoulders, the torso, the legs, the spine, the neck, the head. Notice that point on the back of the head where gravity is pulling the weight of the head into your mat. Notice the points in the feet and the ankles, the legs, the bum, the back, the shoulders that are resting on the mat beneath you, even those points in the hands and the arms. Just take notice of where gravity has you grounded securely on the surface beneath you. Really opening up through the groin, opening up in the hip joint. When you feel like you're ready, We're going to go from that Supta Baddha Konasana to a happy baby. So we'll bring the soles of the feet to the mat again, and the knees are pointing toward the ceiling. Then we will bring the knees toward the chest. Give them a little hug and even a little rock from side to side here on the low back before we come into our happy baby. And then to come into happy baby, we'll bring the soles of the feet toward the ceiling and open the knees and legs wide. And you can grab the big toe possibly with the forefinger and the middle finger. You might grab the ankles with the hands if the hands don't quite reach the toes. You may want to rock a little side to side. This can feel really nice on the low back also. You might even bring the fingertips to the outer edges of the feet and pull toward the body a little bit. Think of lengthening the tailbone out in front of you as you come into this happy baby position. And do whatever feels best for your body as far as holding the ankles, the toes, the outer edges of the feet. You know what works best for you. I like the little rocking motion. If that works for you, you can add that in. And then come to stillness for just a moment. And we'll bring the knees and legs back close to one another and bring the knees into the palms of the hands. The fingertips are resting on that soft, fleshy part below the kneecaps. And we're going to just allow the arms to lengthen to straight, so elbows are straighter, and the knees are just barely pulling the hands toward the front of the room. If we were to let go with the hands right now, the feet would just fall to the floor. That's the only thing keeping the feet from falling is the hands on the knees. And just notice how this feels on the sacrum too. Sometimes this can feel really nice, giving a little more pressure in that area. And from here, we're going to hold on to the right knee and lengthen the left leg out on the mat. So drawing that right knee toward the chest, giving it just a little gentle squeeze. And then we're going to release it so that the big toe comes to rest right above the left kneecap, right big toe above left kneecap. And then we're going to allow that right knee to come over to the left-hand side toward the floor. It may not get there, and that's fine. It may hover above the floor. And we're rolling up onto the outside of the left hip here. So we're feeling some opening in the outside of this upper hip. If it ever gets pinchy in the back or slightly uncomfortable in the low back, just press the heel and the sole of that right foot, that upper foot, toward the bottom of your mat, just toward the wall in front of you. And that'll allow some opening here if this gets a little too tight in the low back. And we're not pulling the knee toward the floor. We're just letting gravity do the work here. So it might even be best to lengthen both of the arms out on either side of the shoulders. We also want to work to keep this right shoulder on the mat. And sometimes that means that we come back from the twist, out of the twist just a little bit to keep it there. And again, closing the eyes if it feels good here, just relaxing into this position, this supine twist, maybe rearranging if needed, if you feel like something's out of alignment. And then if you'd like to continue the twist into the neck, you can turn the head to face toward the outstretched right palm. Again, if you close the eyes and really notice the sensations in the body here, we want this to be a relaxed pose. We want to release a lot of efforts in the muscles. Just relax into it. From here, let's bring that right knee closer to, just slightly closer to the chest so that we can roll back over onto the back. And now we're going to lengthen the right leg out. Directly in front, we're going to bring left knee toward the chest. Give it a little squeeze, little gentle squeeze. And then just allow that left knee to come across the body and come toward the floor. We're not pressing it toward the floor, just letting gravity pull it that direction. And then you can extend the arms out on either side of the shoulders. And if you'd like to continue the twist into the neck, turn the face toward the outstretched palm on the left. And again, if you need to release any tension in the low back, just press the sole of the foot toward the bottom of the mat. Allowing everything to let go here. And to come out, let's draw the left knee just slightly closer to the chest so that we can roll back over onto our backs. Done a lot of rest and restoration here. We want to come into our full Shavasana now, extending the legs out from the hips, letting the feet fall open, allowing the shoulders to melt down into the mat. Maybe you just bring the shoulder blades slightly closer to one another and allowing some opening in the front of the chest, allowing the hands to rest right on either side of the body, a little curvature in the fingers when the hands are fully relaxed. Just notice that. And let's bring some attention to the right big toe, the second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Scanning the sole of the foot, the top of the foot. Noticing the ankle. Drawing attention up through the calf and the shin, the knee, the hip and the glute. And allow that whole right leg to grow very heavy and allow gravity to pull the weight of the leg into the mat. Then take your attention to the left big toe, the second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Scanning the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, wrapping around the heel and the ankle, coming up through the calf and the shin, wrapping around the knee, up into the glute, first through the thigh, front and back of the thigh, to the glute and the hip, allowing complete release in that left leg, letting it grow heavy. Drawing attention to the pelvic region from the genitals all the way up to the top of the hips. Moving to the abdomen and low back, the mid-back and the stomach, the upper back, shoulders, the ribs and the chest. And allowing every muscle of the torso to completely let go and release. Drawing attention to the right thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Scanning the palm and the back of the hand, the wrist, the forearm and elbow, the upper arm and shoulder. Letting the whole right arm release and let go. Bringing attention to the left thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Scanning the palm the wrist, the forearm, the elbow, and the upper arm and shoulder. Allowing the whole left arm to completely let go and release. Coming across the left shoulder to the neck, the side, the back, the right side of the neck, and the throat. Bringing attention to the jaw, opening the jaw, releasing it. We hold a lot of tension there quite often. Just open the jaw slightly so that you can allow a complete release there. Bringing attention up around the ears, down the jawbone to the chin, the lips, opening the mouth slightly if you like to release any tension there. Noticing the cheeks and the cheekbones, the area around the nose, the eyes, and all the tiny little muscles around the eye sockets. Let them release and let go. Bringing attention to the temples, across the forehead, and settling finally right between the eyebrows, allowing any muscles of the face, the neck, the head to release and let go fully. And keeping the attention right there between the eyebrows and allowing a release there as well. Be here in Shavasana for just a few minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back to full awareness. Let's begin to bring some movement to the fingers and the toes. Rocking the hips gently from side to side. Taking a full body stretch here, pressing the palms toward the wall behind us, pressing out through the heels of the feet, really lengthening through the front of the body. Bringing the hands down on either side of the body now. Let's turn over onto one side. Pillowing the head with the hand, bending the knees in this loose fetal position. Take a full breath cycle here with the eyes still closed. And then using the hands, press yourself back up into your comfortable seated position. For just a moment. And I encourage you to consider for just a moment what you might be leaving here on the mat that no longer serves you, and what you may have gained from your practice that you want to carry forward with you. Take a moment to notice the breath, and notice any sensations in the body. Bring the hands to prayer position at the heart. Take a big full belly breath, inhale, and Om on the exhale. Bring the hands to rest on the forehead, thumbs right at the center of the forehead. May we have peace in our thoughts. Bringing hands to thumbs resting on the lips. May we have peace in our words. Finally, bringing hands to rest at the heart space again. May we have peace in our hearts. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in each of you, and I bow as I say Namaste. Thank you so much for being here to practice with me today. I really hope this practice has brought some peace and tranquility into your day, and that you can now carry that with you wherever you go in the outer world. Carry that peace and tranquility with you and bring it into every space that you enter. I can't wait to see you here at practice again. If you have any comments or questions about the practice, please put them in the comments section below. Obviously, if you would like to get notifications whenever a new practice is posted once a week, subscribe and click the bell if you'd like to get a notification when those are loaded for you. Every Saturday, we tend to put a new practice up. Namaste. Can't wait to practice with you again soon.